The minds of serial killers are often depicted as impenetrable enigmas. Media portrayals tend to sensationalize these individuals, focusing on the macabre details of their crimes rather than understanding the psychology that drives them. This video aims to peel back the layers of mystique and horror to examine the psychological underpinnings that define serial killers. By understanding their motivations, behavioral patterns, and background factors, we can gain insights into not only why they commit these heinous acts, but also how future tragedies might be prevented. Definition of serial killing. Serial killing is defined by criminologists as the act of murdering 3 or more individuals, usually in service of abnormal psychological gratification, with the murders taking place over more than a month and including a significant break, a cooling-off period, between them. This distinguishes serial killers from spree killers, who may kill multiple individuals within a shorter duration without a cooling-off period, and from mass murderers, who typically kill multiple individuals in a single event. Serial killers often follow a characteristic pattern or method, modus operandi, and may have specific types of victims and motives that align with their deep-seated psychological pathologies. Historical overview. The study of serial killers and their psychological underpinnings has a long and complex history, dating back to the 19th century with infamous cases like Jack the Ripper in London, who mystified and terrified the public. In the United States, the term serial killer gained traction in the 1970s, popularized by FBI agents and profilers like Robert Ressler and John Douglas, who developed criminal profiling techniques based on patterns observed in serial homicide cases. These foundational efforts paved the way for modern forensic psychology and criminal profiling, offering insights into the behaviors and motives of serial killers. Psychological profiles. Serial killers often exhibit distinct psychological profiles that include traits such as antisocial personality disorder, psychopathy, and narcissism. These individuals typically show a lack of empathy and remorse, combined with superficial charm and manipulative behavior. Psychologists note that many serial killers possess a grandiose sense of self-worth and are extremely calloused in their interactions with others. Their behavioral patterns may also include cleverness and meticulous planning, which aid in evading law enforcement. Additionally, many exhibit signs of sadism, taking pleasure in the torment of their victims, which is a key component of their crimes. Understanding these traits helps criminal psychologists and profilers anticipate and mitigate potential threats and aids in the investigation and capture of such individuals. Childhood factors. Childhood factors play a significant role in the development of serial killers, with many experiencing severe trauma, abuse, or neglect during their formative years. Psychological studies often reveal a pattern of early exposure to violence, whether through familial, physical, or sexual abuse, which contributes to distorted perceptions of power, control, and relationships. Additionally, serial killers frequently report feelings of isolation and alienation from peers and family, compounding their difficulties with social integration. These adverse childhood experiences can foster emotional detachment and desensitization to suffering, setting a foundation for the lack of empathy and remorse observed in their adult behaviors. By examining these early experiences, researchers aim to understand the genesis of pathological behaviors that may lead to serial criminal activities. The role of fantasy. The role of fantasy in the minds of serial killers is a crucial aspect of their psychological profile, acting as both a catalyst and a sustaining force for their criminal behavior. Many serial killers develop intricate fantasy worlds that offer an escape from their unsatisfactory reality and provide a realm where they have total control and power. These fantasies are often violent or sadistic, involving detailed scenarios about stalking, overpowering, and murdering potential victims. Over time, the boundary between fantasy and reality can blur for these individuals, compelling them to act out their fantasies to achieve the same sense of control and satisfaction in the real world. The transition from fantasy to actualization is a critical phase in the development of a serial killer, marking the point where dangerous spots escalate into deadly actions. Triggers and stressors. In the lives of serial killers, specific triggers and stressors can precipitate the onset of their criminal activities or escalate their violent behavior. These triggers often involve significant personal or professional failures, relationship breakdowns, or major life crises that evoke intense feelings of anger, humiliation, or loss of control. For instance, the loss of a job or an intimate relationship might trigger a profound crisis in individuals who already exhibit psychopathic or sociopathic traits, pushing them to regain control or assert dominance through murder. Additionally, some serial killers experience stressors as challenges to their fantasies, prompting them to act out their violent scenarios in reality to reaffirm their power or correct perceived wrongs. Identifying these triggers is crucial for law enforcement and mental health professionals, as they can potentially predict and prevent escalation of violence. Modus operandi and signature. The concepts of modus operandi and signature are pivotal in understanding the behaviors of serial killers. The modus operandi refers to the methods and techniques a killer uses to commit crimes, which are often chosen for their practicality and efficiency in achieving the desired outcome. This can include the way they approach and subdue their victims, their choice of weapon, and their method of disposing of the body. In contrast, a signature goes beyond the necessary actions for committing the crime and into the realm of personal expression. It reflects the killer's psychological and emotional needs. Signatures are unique and ritualistic behaviors that are not necessary to kill, but are essential for fulfilling the killer's emotional or psychological desires, such as posing bodies in a certain manner or leaving specific items at the crime scene. Understanding both endo and signature is crucial for criminal profilers and investigators in linking crimes to a single perpetrator and gaining insights into their psyche. Victim selection. Victim selection by serial killers is often a deeply psychological process, guided by specific criteria that fulfill the killer's emotional or psychological needs. Some serial killers target victims based on specific physical characteristics, age, or gender, which align with their fantasies or represent symbolic figures from their past, often stemming from traumatic relationships or experiences. For instance, a killer might select victims who resemble a family member or an abuser, thereby reenacting past traumas or exercising control over a once powerless situation. Other killers might choose victims based on opportunity and vulnerability, such as those in isolated environments or from marginalized groups, to minimize the risk of apprehension. Understanding the patterns in victim selection can provide crucial clues in profiling the killer, predicting future victims, and preventing additional crimes. Law enforcement challenges. Law enforcement faces numerous challenges when tracking and apprehending serial killers, primarily due to the often unpredictable and secretive nature of these criminals. Serial killers typically maintain a facade of normalcy, which can make them extremely difficult to identify and capture. Their ability to blend into society allows them to evade suspicion, often for years. Additionally, the geographical spread of their crimes can complicate investigations, as different jurisdictions may not immediately connect the dots between similar cases. Serial killers also tend to be highly intelligent and may adapt their methods over time to avoid detection, further complicating profiling efforts. Moreover, the psychological complexity and varied motives behind their crimes mean that traditional investigative techniques may not always be effective, requiring law enforcement to continually adapt and innovate their approaches to track these elusive predators effectively. That's all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and share this video to help spread awareness and deepen understanding of this complex topic. Engage with us in the comments section below to share your thoughts or to discuss further the intricate interplay between psychology and criminal behavior.